All right, happy Thursday, everybody. Welcome to Survive to Thrive. We're going to get started. And today we are going to talk about prospecting expired listings. Here's why. One of the things that all of us are seeing is the market is shifting. All right. And what does that mean? So it can mean a lot of things, by the way. It doesn't necessarily mean that we've moved from a seller's market to a buyer's market, even though in some markets we absolutely have. The shifting market is as simple as homes are not selling as quickly as they did. Homes are sitting on the market longer than they did. We're not getting multiple offers in a week and selling for 105% of the asking price. There's fewer homes being sold. That's a shift. There were 4.1 million homes sold in 2023. We're tracking about the same number for 2024. At least that's what the experts are saying. And we had over 6 million homes sold in 2021. That's a shift. Now, when I was a real estate agent back in 2005, 6, 7, I was a new agent, still trying to figure this thing out. And I remember sitting in a room, I'm at a training event with thousands of other agents, and I'm hearing a market shift. And I'm listening to the experts on stage talk about a shifting market. And I remember thinking, what the heck is a shift? I don't understand. This is something that I've never seen. The market in 2003, 4, 5 was similar to the market we had in 19, 20, and 21. And then I heard somebody talk about short sales. And then I was really confused, Daphne. I'm like, what the heck is a short sale? So prior to that, I was taking an average of 10 seller listings a month, and 75% of my listings were coming from prospecting for sell by owners. Now, as the market shifted, I noticed there's fewer for sale by owners, and I went through a period of time where I was taking fewer listings. The listings I were taking were sitting on the market, and I also realized that in order to close 4 seller listings a month, I no longer taking 5 seller listings would no longer lead to 4 selling. I would have to take 10 seller listings in order to sell 4, and eventually 20 seller listings in order to sell 4. It's a shift. The other thing I noticed is there's a lot more expireds. So I shifted my focus from calling for sell by owners to calling expireds. And all of a sudden, we took off again. We broke through a ceiling. So let's talk about calling expired listings. First of all, I want to get rid of a few limiting beliefs. One of the limiting beliefs that I hear from real estate agents is everybody else is calling expired listings. All right, let's define everybody else. How many real estate agents are in your local market? If there's 10,000 agents in your market and everyone is calling expired listings, that means that expired listing is getting 10,000 calls. Now, that's everyone. That's what you said. You said everyone is calling expired listings. So let's get the correct perspective here. Everyone is not calling expired listings. It's probably about 1% of the agents in your market. Now, the other limiting belief that I hear is I can't find their phone number. I'm making a lot of calls, but they're the wrong numbers. Nobody's picking up the phone. Sellers are not motivated. And I could go on and on and on. All right, here's a solution. Number 1, focus on the activity, not the result. When you create a daily standard to have 10 real estate conversations, and let's say my daily standard is to talk to 10 expired listings. I'm focused on the activity. I'm not focused on the result. At the end of the day, Charlene, if I've had 10 conversations with expired listings and nobody was interested in scheduling an appointment with me, did I fail? The answer to that is no. The answer is no, because I'm focused on the activities, not the results. And when I focus on the activities, 2 things happen. Number 1, I control success. I choose success. I choose success by not settling for anything less than 10 conversations. Number 2, over time, success shows up. Now, let me explain that. All right, if I'm working 250 days a year, And that's 50 weeks, 5 days a week, by the way. If I'm working 250 days a year and my standard is one new opportunity every single day, then I'm meeting with 250 expired listings. Now, here's what I know. I know that the conversion ratio, this is based on experience, not just mine, but also agents that I'm coaching. I know that the conversion ratio at the low end is 10% and at the high end is 20%. Now, you may be thinking another limiting belief. John, 10%, that's awful. I'm going to do all this work for 10%. All right, well, let's do the math. If I meet with 250 sellers and 10% of them hire me, that's 25 seller listings in the next 12 months. That's success. Yes, I agree, Daphne. Thank you. So focus on the activities. Don't focus on the results. Make sure you have the right perspective around this. All right, let's make the call. Let's see. I'll just randomly pick names for people who have their camera on. Don't worry, you don't need to role play with me. I'll play both parts here. Okay. So hey, Charlene, John Dietz, local real estate expert with Blank Real Estate Company. All right, let's dissect that. A typical sales call sounds something like, hello, may I speak to Brian Copeland, please? Now, as soon as Brian gets that call, he knows it's a sales call. He knows it's a telemarketer. What's your first blink response when you get a call from somebody trying to sell you something? I don't have time to talk right now. But if I call Brian, I'm like, hey, Brian, it's John Dietz. Brian's first immediate thought is, who the heck is John Dietz? I know that I must know this guy. He obviously knows me. It's a friend call, not a sales call. Now I'm immediately going to go right into local real estate expert with Blank Real Estate Company. I'm not going to wait for Brian to respond. I'm not going to ask him if I got him at a good time. His home just came off the market. It's not a good time. He's not happy. Did I get you at a good time? No. I'm getting all of these freaking calls and I want to, so don't go there. So quick questions. This is your hook. Ready? Brian, John Dietz, local real estate expert. I was just curious, is your home still available? Next question. Hey, Brian, John Dietz, local real estate expert. If I had a full price offer on your home today, would you want me to bring you the offer? Brian's John Dietz, local real estate expert. Just curious, if a buyer showed up today with a full price offer, what would you do? All right, I didn't mention one time that his home came off the market. Why not? Because that's what everybody else is doing. If you're coaching with Mike Ferry or Tom Ferry or MAPS, and I know because I was a MAPS coach, you're being taught to say things like, hey, Brian, John Dietz, local real estate expert with eXp Realty. I am calling to see if you're ready to hire the right agent for the job. Script. I specialize in selling homes that didn't sell like yours. Script. Now, that's what everybody else is doing. So don't do that. Immediately go right to, if I had a full price offer on your home today, would you want me to bring you the offer? Now, the purpose of the call is to get the appointment. Please write that down. The purpose of the call is not to get a list appointment. It's not to sell their home. It's not to get a paycheck. It's to get a face-to-face appointment with that seller. My goal is to get in the door. If I get in the door, then I move from pushy real estate agent who's trying to list their home, that's everybody else, to building a relationship based on, I care about you, you can trust me, I know what I'm doing, and I can help you, and now I've created a foundation to follow up from. All right, let's talk about objections you're going to hear. Where were you when my home was on the market? Great question. By the way, that's frustration, all right, which is a good thing. I'll get to that in just a second. That's a great question. And quite honestly, you know, Brian, the reason I didn't show your home is because I didn't know it was for sale. Let me explain. You see, if you were to hire me, embedded command, everybody get that? If you were to hire me, it's not only my job to market your home to all of the buyers who are looking for a home like yours, but it's also my job to market your home to all the real estate agents who are selling homes like yours. You see, if you were to hire me, I would email the top 100 agents in our market with a copy of your listing. I would call them and I would tell them about your home. And quite honestly, your agent never called me. Now, if you want to make it a little bit more edgy, I understand you're frustrated, but maybe you're frustrated with the wrong person. Maybe you should be frustrated with the agent who didn't call me versus being frustrated with me. Now, right from there, I'm immediately going to close. Anytime you answer an objection, go right back to close. So the reason I didn't show your home is because your agent never called me. Now, if I could bring you an offer today, would you want me to bring you that offer? Immediately, go right back to that. All right, you may hear, I'm going to relist with my previous agent. Just curious, what are they going to do this time that they didn't do last time? You see, the definition of insanity is to keep doing the same thing, expecting different results. And since we both know that you're not insane, obviously you're going to do something different this time. Now, this is where you would have the opportunity to share. You see, I specialize in selling homes that should have sold but didn't, like yours. And by meeting with you, I can tell you why your home didn't sell. You see, there's only 3 reasons a home doesn't sell. It's either price, presentation, or marketing. And by looking at your home online and looking at all the pictures, it looks like you have a beautiful home. So let's rule out presentation and only leaves price and marketing. Now, just out of curiosity, which of those 2 do you believe is the reason your home didn't sell? You may hear I'm going to take a break. So my question to that is, what does a break look like? In other words, how long, when are you thinking of putting your home back on the market? Charlene says 6 months. My response to that is, if a buyer were to show up with a full price offer between now and 6 months, what would you do? She'd say, I'd sell my house. Yeah, I agree. And if your home's not on the market, what are the odds that that buyer is going to show up with a full price offer? Not very good. And, if you wait, Daphne, for 6 months and there's more homes on the market, we're already seeing more and more homes on the market. We're seeing them sitting longer and not selling. So the writing is on the wall where there's more than likely going to be more homes for sale 6 months from now than there are today. And Megan, if there's more homes on the market 6 months from now, there's going to be more competition. Wouldn't you agree? And is it going to be easier to sell your home when there's more competition or when there's less competition like there is today? Now, harm's way questions, pound them, all right? Put them in pain. Between now and 6 months, JW, if prices go down by 5% or 10%, your home's currently asking price is $700,000. If the market went down by 10%, holy cow, that's $70,000. If 6 months from now you found out you lost $70,000 in value on your home, how would you feel about that? What if that caused you to no longer be able to sell your home in order to move into that new home that you want to move into, and you're still in your home a year from now, 2 years from now, 5 years from now? How would you feel about that? All right, so you've got the appointment. Purpose of the call is to get the appointment. Period. The end. There's nothing they could say that would cause you not to go on the appointment. All right. You've got the appointment. The purpose of the appointment is to build a foundation to follow up. It's not to get the listing. That's another limiting belief. I have real estate agents who tell me, John, I read your book. I did what you said. I got the appointment, but and I always know what's coming next when I hear but. It's going to be a number of different excuses. They're not motivated to sell their home. They're asking too much money. They're fill in the blank. All right. My whole point is the purpose of the appointment is to build a foundation to follow up. Quite honestly, it doesn't matter to me what happens on that appointment. I'm in lead generation. The result of that lead generation is I'm scheduling appointments. The next step is follow up. And I have a system. In other words, I have a CRM with a plan to follow up with that seller. I'm going to call once a week for 4 weeks. And then I'm going to call once every other week for the next month. And then I'm going to call once a month after that, pretty much forever. In other words, there's nothing they can say that would cause me to stop calling. The longest it took me in follow-up was 3 years and 86 calls. Now, what's interesting about that is the very first time I called them, I heard, you really don't need to come over. If we ever list the house, we're going to put it back on the market with the same agent. He's a friend of ours. My response was, awesome. Does today work, or would 5 be better for you? Now, just imagine I'm making these follow-up calls to that same seller, right? I'm following the plan. I'm not judging opportunity away. Please write that down. And I'm calling once a week for 4 weeks, and I'm hearing, John, thanks for staying in touch. But I mean, gee whiz, we told you if we ever list our home, we're going to list with Bob. He's a friend. I understand. Talk to you in a couple of weeks. Now, in the second month, I'm calling once every other week, and then it's once a month after that. And with this particular seller, it was 3 years. Now, what's interesting is when I went back through my CRM and I looked for 1.5 years, they never answered their phone. For 1.5 years, it was nothing but voicemail. Now, 3 years later, 86 calls later, I get a call. Hey, John, we'd like you to come over tomorrow and put our home on the market. Now, I don't know what happened to Bob. I never asked. But by that time, what had happened is I created emotional proximity, simply meaning that when they got serious about selling their home, I was the one closest to them. I was top of mind. It was a come list me, simply because I created emotional proximity. Now, if you have somebody say to you 6 months, 7 months into your follow-up, you know, Charlene, I love the follow-up, but you know, I shared with you that if we ever put the house back on the market, we're hiring Bob. Here's what I want you to say. Charlene, I have a question for you. In the last 7 months, how many times has Bob called you? How many times has he called just to see what he could do to help you, serve you as a real estate professional? Now, how many times have I called you? Who do you think's more interested in helping you get your home sold? Me or Bob? You're going to hear, you are. Come over tomorrow. I promise you, it works. All right. Follow-up calls are so simple, guys. This is really, really easy. Hey, this is John Dietz with Blank Real Estate Company. Checking in, wanting to see, how are you? Is there anything I could do for you today? That's it. That's all it has to be. Now look for a conversation, because pay attention to what they're saying. It matters. And look for an opportunity to go deep, right? So if you hear motivation, for example, ask them, you know, it's been 5, 6 months since your home came off the market. I know when we first spoke, you were interested in moving to Atlanta in order to be close to family. Have you given up on that goal? Nobody wants to say yes to that. Nobody wants to say yes to that. So what do you think you're going to hear? No, we still want to do that. Okay, so when's the right time? Oh, we're going to wait until after the holidays. That makes sense. However, if more homes come on the market between now and the end of the holidays, is it going to be easier to sell your home when there's more competition, or when there's less competition like there is today? Well, I guess now, when there's less competition. Yeah, and between now and the end of and after the holidays, if a buyer were to show up with a full price offer, what would you do? I'd sell my home. And if your home's not on the market, what are the odds that a buyer is going to show up with that offer? Not very good. Why don't we go ahead and get together today so I can show you how I could sell your home for the most amount of money in the least amount of time? All right, when you see frustration, close for the appointment. The purpose of the call is to get the appointment. The purpose of that's so funny. It's a purpose. The purpose of the appointment is to build a foundation to follow up from, look for motivation, and look for frustration. And then the next step is have a system to follow up forever, reject rejection. No is not a word that lives in your vocabulary. No simply means not yet. Remember that they will not change their mind, but they will make a new decision based on new information. All right, guys, talk to me.
When you were calling expires, where did you get the numbers?
Good question. So I was doing it the hard way. I wouldn't recommend you do what I did. I had a search set up in my MLS, Brian, so that I would simply go into the office every morning, somewhere between 7 and 7:30 in the morning. I would pull the list of all the new expireds, and then I would go into Zava Search, which was a free online search that I was using at the time. I would look for their phone numbers. I would put together my call list for that day, and then by 8:30 at the latest, I was on the phone making calls.
Yes.
John, I need some pointers because the scripts that you're saying are obviously effective. I feel for me, they're too aggressive and I don't feel like it fits my personality, but they are effective. What would you recommend to like get over that?
Well, first of all, Daphne, you can personalize them, all right? So they're not as edgy. Create Daphne scripts based on the outline. Secondly, when the reason for making the call is bigger than the fear of making the call, you'll make the call.
Cool.
Create a standard and hold yourself accountable to that standard. If you decided you're going to start going to the gym and you're going to work out, that's a great goal. And that's a great thing to do too, by the way. And if you haven't been going to the gym, chances are you're going to go for a week, maybe, and then you're going to give up because nobody's paying attention to whether you do it or not. Create an accountability partner who's holding you accountable to that standard. So if you set a standard of having 10 real estate conversations a day, give a friend a $100 check and tell them, I'm going to tell you how many real estate conversations I have every day. And the first time I don't have 10 expired real estate conversations, you can cash that check. You'll make the calls. And if $100 is not painful enough, write a $1,000 check.
Cool.
All right.
And John, do you find it more effective to do phone calls in the morning?
Always.
As you said,
Always. Couple reasons. Clarissa, thank you for cute shirt, right? So my lead generate like a duck shirt. It was a gift from Clarissa, by the way. So Clarissa Coddington, love you. Thank you. Megan, morning always. Couple reasons. Your energy is higher in the morning than it is in the afternoon or evening. So that's reason number one. Reason number two is when you time block for lead generation in the morning, there's less of a chance of things happening that will get in the way of lead generation. If you time block later in the day, you're going to scratch it off your calendar because somebody's going to want to meet with you. And of course, you're going to meet with them. So you'll cross off lead generation. Nobody's going to want to meet with you to talk about listing their home between 8 and 10 in the morning. So do it in the morning. And then I had a third reason, and I can't think of what it is, Nick. Let's go with those two.
I think Darren had a quick question. What if they say stop calling?
Oh, where's Darren?
He was on the camera. There he is.
All right. Hey, buddy. You know, Darren, here's a really good, that's a really good question. Okay. By the way, true story. Twice in my real estate career, I had the police call me with a complaint from a homeowner that I was calling them too much, telling me to stop calling. All right. So, Darren, my response would be, I understand, Darren, I'm sorry for being a pest. I really am. And if I'm being too pushy, please forgive me, but I really want to be there for you when you need my help. And that's it. I wouldn't say anything after that. I would just say that. Now, Darren, as a recruiter, I had real estate agents tell me that. Now, here's my response to the real estate agents who told me that. Darren, you know what? I could listen to you and I could stop calling you. Or I could call you forever. And eventually you'll change your mind. So I'm going to call you forever. And they're like, okay. Right? Bill Soul is this real estate agent down in Coral Springs. Clarissa knows him. He's a good guy. I love Bill Soul. And Bill would tell me, John, quit calling me. I'm like, Bill, hey, buddy, you know me, and I'm going to keep calling. So when I moved back to the Tampa Bay area, who do you think called me? Bill Soul. He's like, thank God you left. Because I wasn't going to be calling him anymore. I'm like, I'm still calling you, Bill. I'm going to have real estate agents in Coral Springs. All right. Reject, rejection. No is not a word that lives in my vocabulary. No simply means not yet. Watch the 2020 interview or the 60-minute interview. I forget which show it was with Bill Porter. When Bill Porter was asked, what did you think when they slammed the door in your face and told you never come back? His response was, I didn't believe them. Now imagine if you adopted that same mentality. What could you do? All right, everybody, that's it. They got a
Awesome.
great day.
Where can we get the recording from today's call, John?
Hey, by the way, I emailed you the recording. I got your message.
I got it.
Okay, because
I did get that.
Okay, good. So these recordings go on YouTube. Tuesdays and Thursdays are live on my YouTube channel. So just subscribe to my YouTube channel. They also are on the Survive to Thrive page in Facebook. And if you haven't joined, please go in there and ask to join, and I will add you to the group.
Awesome. Thank you. Will do.
All right, guys. Make it a great day.
Thanks.
Go
Thank you.
Bill.